want to start by asking, like, the most enjoyable thing for me was to watch you play and catch with Justin Jefferson. Have you met him before?
No, never met him. I knew who he was, and I've watched the Receiver series actually on Netflix. So I've got to kind of know a little bit about him through watching that, and I've seen him play as well in the NFL. So very cool dude, very, very cool guy.
Did you learn anything like in the short time there?
I probably learned that I'm definitely a much better racing driver than I am football player, and that's okay with me.
It's a different kind of quick hands situation with him than it is for you.
Correct.
All right, let's get to you. How would you describe the season that you've had so far?
It's been great so far. I think it's been more or less what I wanted it to look like. I think, just the moment in Melbourne really is kind of the only blip, but I think from an execution standpoint, from the pace I've had, from the confidence I've had and how I feel like I've been driving, it's looked exactly how I wanted it to, and that's always a very satisfying feeling.
Okay, so you had the moment in Melbourne, which for most people, like, fine, you have a moment, but for you, the added fact is, like, that's home. How long does that sort of thing stick with you? And then who helps you get over it?
I mean, definitely the next 24, 48 hours were pretty tough after that, when you're looking for a good result. I think also after the fact, it kind of hits that, home Grand Prix, home podium. So that hurt a little bit after. It was a nice thing that we had a race the next weekend. It was even nicer and sweeter that I went out and won the next weekend. So that definitely helped my mood quite a lot. But it's always a little bit painful for a few days, and then you try to focus on the next race.
So obviously I was just talking to Lando, and like for him, because of what happened last year, he came into this season, and obviously we are expecting things, we collectively expecting things of him. Do you feel in any way that maybe you were slightly overlooked in all of this?
Potentially. I'm not sure. I think, I wasn't that bothered either way how I was kind of perceived going into the year. I knew that I had some things I wanted to improve on, and just try and find that last little bit of lap time that I was lacking in a few races. And I worked hard, and I feel like I've been able to find that so far. I've got to keep digging and keep pushing to try and maintain that now. But I always believed that I could fight for a championship if we had the car to do so. And so far, I think that's definitely been the case. So it's been nice to have the success I've been having.
So the position that you put yourself in now, the wins, the points, just where you are now, how does that impact what you're able to do going forward?
It doesn't change it at all. I think, if anything, it's just given me more confidence. I think all three of the wins this year have looked a little bit different. I think two of them were incredibly strong weekends where I had really strong pace. And then Saudi Arabia was a weekend where I felt like I had good pace, but I had to be strong in other areas, getting the laps in when I needed to, being strong in my racecraft. That's ultimately what probably won me the race in Saudi. So I think having to rely on those different things is also a confidence boost, because, I know that I've got different elements of my driving that I can rely on. All of those things build confidence. Winning races is always a bit more fun as well. So it's been a really fun stuff.
Okay, so that's actually, I think, the third time that you've said the word confidence.
Yeah.
Is that also something that you've been working on?
Yes and no. I mean, I think I've always been confident in my ability to do things. It's just when you have the evidence to back that up, it helps you gain even more confidence. And, I think I often last year was trying to find that last half tenth of a second, and that was frustrating at times. And I think this year I'm just more comfortable more than anything else. And again, those results, some of the overtakes, some of the ways I've won races and built my weekends, that gives me a lot of confidence that we can have a great year. And again, when you've got the evidence, I think it's just human nature that it naturally helps you out.
Oh, yes. So McLaren is obviously, as a team, in a different situation. Indy 500 coming up. You'll have Monaco in the morning. You'll have the opportunity to watch. But that also means watching members of your McLaren family take part in another big race. Like, How does that feel from like your perspective, watching that and watching like the extended members of your family?
It's always cool. It's always a nice weekend to firstly race in Monaco and then watch the Indy 500. It's cool to try and see McLaren win 2 out of the 3 of the Triple Crown. But yeah, I think for myself, I kind of need to get to Indy one day and be able to appreciate it, because I think watching on TV, it's pretty different to being at the race. But it is very cool to try and see McLaren winning 2 of the biggest races in motorsport on the same day.
So, Alonso tried his hand at IndyCar and gave it a go in Indy. No. Okay, why?
Not for me.
Why?
I mean, firstly, my kind of dream and goal's always been to race in F1, so I'm very happy with where I am. But also, those guys are crazy. I think for me, the speeds, the speeds, the walls being so close, you've got to put a lot of trust in the people around you at that point. And, crashing an F1 car at the speeds we go hurts. Add another 20, 30 miles an hour average speed, or well, not even average speed, but they're going basically 20 miles an hour quicker than our top speed as their average speed. So it's not a matter of how much it's going to, it's not a matter of if it's going to hurt, it's how much it's going to hurt. So I'm very happy with my F1 car, with my F1 circuits, and I'm very happy to be watching the Indy 500.
Sounds good. A few other quick questions. Obviously, you've heard the gorilla versus man thing that's been going around. So
yes.
Our question is, if you put all 20 of the F1 drivers against a gorilla, how long would you give the collective unit? And then additionally, which driver are you sacrificing first?
To give the collective, I reckon if you all just run far enough, I reckon you could survive a couple of hours. If you run fast enough, like sprint it out of there, all in different directions.
Okay.
Very mathematical approach to this thing, I know. You could last 1 or 2 hours,
okay.
I reckon. Or the last person would last 1 or 2 hours. It'd be a pretty terrifying couple of hours, though. Who would you sacrifice first? I don't know. I'm not sure. Whoever's probably the easiest to catch and corner. So whoever's the slowest.
For the record, I think the most common response to that has been Yuki.
Yuki, yeah. But see, I was thinking that, but I reckon Yuki's got some serious pace and he'd be able to just run away. I reckon there's definitely people that would struggle to catch him if he ran, and they'd be eaten first. Okay,
last question. If you had a yacht, what would you name it?
What would I name it?
And it's got to be like a proper yacht, like...
You see, unlike some of my colleagues on the grid, I don't have enough money yet to worry about that problem. But hopefully it's a problem I have in the future. That would be nice. What am I going to call it, though? I don't know. I feel like like the traditional way is giving it a female name or something elegant. So I don't know. Think about it. I'm not great at these creative names.
You've got years to think about it.
I've got years to think about it. Maybe a whole lifetime.
You want the yacht when you're retired anyway.
Exactly.
You can enjoy it then.
Exactly, yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No problem.